Entitled parent denies me medication, denies caring for me, and gets angry when I decide I've had enough and start preventing her crap storms. As a backstory, I'm 16 and recently connected with my mother after having no contact for 2 years due to her constant verbal abuse and threats to send me to foster care because she didn't want me. When we reconnected, everything was good and I even went to her wedding. However, I guess someone's true colours never change. My mum began acting like herself again in December, deciding to cancel family counselling because the counsellor wanted her to make some effort on her part instead of demanding that I fix everything in our relationship. She tried to hide this by telling me our counsellor quit. However, I called the place where my counselling was, as it was the same building as my psychiatrist, and was told my mother cancelled the appointments. I've had counselling and therapy all my life, and my mother is very used to being able to get them to tell her everything I talk to them about so she can judge and punish me for it. However, my psychiatrist refuses to tell her anything as I'm now in an age where he can't legally disclose my information and I'm also not living under her roof. This angers my mother and she has tried to cancel every single appointment I've had since I started seeing this psychiatrist. Each time I go to psychiatry, she makes sure to degrade me, tells me I'm faking it for attention, I need to just grow up, and there's nothing wrong with me, despite having been diagnosed with anxiety and depression. Yesterday, my psychiatrist prescribed me medication to also help with the signs of borderline personality disorder. However, he can't diagnose me with it until I turn 18. Weird Canada laws. This really angered my mother, as she's also anti-vaccine and anti-medicine. She keeps me on vitamins and says the medicine will only make it worse. She contacted my psychiatrist to cancel all future appointments, and told me if I continue to see him, she will see to it that I become homeless, as I'm living under the roof of a family friend who does not legally have to take care of me. I decided to take matters into my own hands and call my psychiatrist to reschedule all appointments, get another prescription for the medication, which I can legally get on my own at 16, and contact Child and Family Social Services for support. This was the last straw for my insane mother, and now she is trying everything in her power to make me homeless, even going as far as to take my birth certificate and healthcare card, so if I do somehow get into foster care, I won't be able to do much, such as get a job or get medical attention. I'm going to my school constable today, and I'll tell you guys how it goes. Yeah, I tried looking for an update and I couldn't find one of that story. Our next story is posted by user duckingpancakes, titled, "Entitled kid copies my answers, then accuses me of cheating, so I get my revenge, then entitled mother reports me for bullying." Sorry about the layout, this is definitely going to get buried, but I thought I'd post it anyway, even though it happened a while ago. My memory isn't the best, so this is only a basic outline of what was actually said. EK equals entitled kid, EM equals entitled mother, T equals teacher, and OP is me. Okay, let's start. For background, I went to school with entitled kid a very long time ago, and somehow I managed to get on his bad side. Entitled kid didn't seem to like me and would use any possible excuse he had to torment me and make school a living hell. Before we started sitting together in this particular class, he had already been picking on me for years, so I wasn't excited and kind of expected this from him. Entitled kid wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, and he often copied other kids' answers. I didn't want to make his attitude towards me any worse than it already was, so I was just play along and act like I didn't notice him looking over my shoulder. This went on for a while, until one day, T finally held us both back after class. This is basically how the conversation went. "I've noticed both of you are getting similar scores on tests and are writing down the same answers in class. Would either of you like to admit to anything?" As I didn't want to be called a snitch, I kept my mouth shut and hoped this other kid would learn his lesson. But no, that's not how it works apparently. "OP has been stealing my answers for months. It's so annoying. Actually, it's the other way around. Why didn't you say this before? She's just trying to blame it on me." It basically ended up with me in detention and entitled kid running free because the way it looked was as if he told the truth, and I turned the tables on him. We were still sitting next to each other in class, so he continued to copy my work. Then it came to the next test. I had heard something online about someone who got their revenge by taking all of the answers wrong in pencil, then rubbing it out last minute and rewriting them in pen. And that is exactly what I did. I ticked every answer, far from correct, to an extent where some of the answers were even quite dumb. Then around 5 minutes to the end of the test, I went through again, rubbing out my answers and ticking the correct answers in pen. Also, intentionally covering most of my answers so that he struggled to copy them. Entitled Kid's expression was a mixture of anger and defeat, as he knew he couldn't do anything now. It was priceless. After the test, he came up to me looking pale and worried, and asked me why I did it. I acted like I had no idea what he was talking about, and he stormed off angrily. We handed in the tests, and when they came back, I got a decent score as usual, and he failed miserably. The teacher even made a comment on how messy it looked when he scribbled out his answers. I bet you think this is the end. No, we're only just getting started. This is the entitled mother's time to shine. It wasn't long after that test, maybe a week or so, when me and my parents were called into the school to attend a meeting with the teacher, entitled kid, and entitled mother. This is how it went. Entitled mother has contacted us about the OP bullying the entitled kid. OP, do you have anything you'd like to say? Yeah, exactly what did I do?
You made my entitled kid fail his test.
Could you explain how OP managed to do that? Entitled mother goes on to explain exactly what I did, and the teacher suddenly realized who was really cheating off of who. So, your kid was cheating?
No. He already knew all of the answers anyway. It's just a waste of his time.
Yes, the entitled mother actually told the teacher it was a waste of her dumb kid's time, whilst basically admitting that he cheated. But he was copying the answers anyway. Entitled mother didn't really have much to say after that. Entitled kid was given a detention and left in a huff, and I got an apology from the teacher for the detention that I was put in. Unfortunately, I don't have a really amazing ending, and the entitled kid continued to annoy me throughout the rest of my time at that school. But here's my story with the entitled kid and entitled mother anyway. Our next story is by user sgtlauta, titled, Mother Calls the Police from the Other Side of the World. Okay, so this is my first story, and sorry for bad English. I'm Swedish, sorry for format, on the phone. We'll edit once I get home. So, I was playing some Rainbow Six Siege solo queue, and met this 12 to 14 year old kid. After the game, he invites me to a 1v1 on house. I agreed and the game was on. Now, I'm okay at Siege around Platinum 3, and he was maybe Silver something, so for me it was an easy game. And this kid was trash talking the whole time. Yeah bro, you suck. And, oh, are you really gonna play insert different operator? She sucks. And so on and on. So the real story begins when he starts using swear words. K is kid, M is mother, and me is Ash Ketchum. F you, man. Hey, why are you swearing at my son? What? I have not been swearing at your son.
Well, I just heard you say frick you to my son.
No, I did not.
And why are you killing my son all of the time?
It's kind of the point of the game to kill the opponent.
Well, why is he not killing you?
Well, that may be because I happen to be better at this game than he is.
I want you to stop killing my son.
Yeah, no, not gonna happen, lady.
You want me to call the cops for assault?
Good luck, ma'am.
Where do you live?
Sweden.
Do not lie to me, you a-hole.
Ma'am, why would I lie to you?
Why would you not lie to me to get out of the police coming to your house?
Touché, man. Oh. But I'm not lying to you. In Swedish.
What is your address?
Riksgatan 112 Stockholm. Address of the Swedish Parliament. Then there is silence for a while.
So now I have called to police and they're on the way.
Sweet, I'll be here waiting for them.
Good, I hope you'll enjoy jail.
I'm sure I will. Well, goodbye. Better get dressed for when the police show up. Bye. I left the game and went to sleep. From what I know, the police have not showed up yet, so... Our next story is posted by user, The Shrimp Boy, titled, Entitled Mother Doesn't Like My Clothes. She Wants Them. Our lovely cast are me, Entitled Mother, and the kid who was kinda cool. I was walking down the street by a park in my neighborhood. It was sort of chilly out as it was 11 AM. I had a black Leningrad Cowboys shirt on, which is an old Finnish band, and my black jacket that's covered in patches. I was exercising my dog because he's kinda chonky and minding his own business. Ork ork. I see a woman and a child walking towards me. They are minding their own business, but the woman had the look. I decided to hope for the best and walk past. But as I'm about to pass her, she says, "Stop!" Is there a problem, man?
What the freak are you wearing?
Band shirt? The shirt features a good bit of communist imagery, like red stars and hammer plus sickles.
It has communism on it. Why are you exposing my kid to that?
The kid has his headphones in and was playing a game on a phone. He just glanced up and saw me, no further interaction. With all due respect, I can wear whatever I want, thanks. I don't even think your kid cares.
Hitler was a communist? You were supporting Hitler! He killed billions of people! Kay cares! Look!
The kid looks up, then back down at the phone. My dog was actually visibly scared of this woman. If I'm being honest, that's not what happened. And you don't control what I wear, lady. Can you move, please? I had tried to push past her or walk around, but she kept stopping me.
Give me the shirt.
What?
Give it to me. I'm going to destroy it so no one else has to see this vulgar shirt ever again.
Lady, this is my favorite shirt. Plus, I'm not stripping down in the middle of a park. I decide enough is enough and forcefully push past the bench. As I walk away, she sees all the patches on the back of my jacket.
What is that?
My jacket has a lot of metal band patches, like Anthrax, Metallica, and Judas Priest.
Your jacket is even worse! That rock music is the work of the devil! Give it to me now!
She starts running after me. I run faster, because track team. She eventually gives up chase and leaves me alone. Hitler was fascist, not communist. Come on, people. Our next story was posted by a user, connordetroitfanboi, titled, Entitled Mum Demands I Give Her Kid My Switchblade. Backstory, it was a birthday, my younger brother's birthday. So as any kid's party, there were lots of kids. P.S. Sorry for formatting, and parents. One, however, was an entitled bench, and ruined his last year, all because her little devil spawn wasn't in the center of attention. Now after all this happened, my mum decided to give her a second chance. Cue the cast. Entitled Mum, Entitled Little Cumstain, my mum, and me. On with the story. So I'm sitting in my room, cleaning my switchblade. Don't assume crap. Cue, Entitled Little Cumstain.
What are you doing?
Why are you in my room?
What's that?
Pointing to my switchblade. A switchblade. Why?
I want it.
No, it's a switchblade, aka too dangerous for a kid your age. The kid was about 5 to 6, around the same age of my brother.
I'm getting mommy.
Okay, I don't care. After 2 minutes, I'm almost done cleaning my switchblade when cue Entitled Mother.
Why don't you let my child have that?
Points to the switchblade. Because it's a switchblade, aka too dangerous for a kid his age.
Ha! My kid is responsible enough for that silly knife. Hand it over.
Lady, the kid is like 5 or 6 years old. Hell, 7 at a push. So no, I'm not giving that kid the knife. Then the Entitled Mother does something unthinkable.
I'm telling your mother.
Like a 5-year-old. So after 2 more minutes, I'm finally done cleaning my switchblade. So I put it up, and surprise, surprise, it's Entitled Mother with my mom.
Where is it, you little crap?
Put up.
Why?
Because.
Because why?
Because I don't want it to be stolen by some entitled bench who wants her kid to die, and if you want him to die so badly, kill him yourself. Well, I think you need to leave, Entitled Mother, because my son needs to calm down, okay? Our next story was posted by user BloodyRoseOfDarkness, titled,
My son deserves to be allowed to sing here.
What's up, fellow Redditors? So for the past year, I have been going to a karaoke bar in the city. I mostly go alone and sit by myself, but I know one of the co-owners, the manager, and a few of the staff. I go almost every week, whether it's a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. While I do have issues with people still due to my anxiety, since my first entitled parent encounter, I developed an intolerance towards stupid and stuck-up people. So I had tendencies to lash out now when confronted by such a person. Sometimes I'll end up having an attack afterwards, or I end up having a very strong drink when I have access to alcohol. Our cast are Karen, stuck-up bench, Tal, 14-year-old brat, Jack, the awesome manager, Mike, the very nice co-owner, and me, the mystical elf from another world. Now on with the story. So, I am at a karaoke bar in the city. I had been there since they opened at 8:30 p.m. I was there alone, like I often was, and I was fine, as I knew a few people who worked there, and one of the co-owners, so my anxiety never really flared up while I was in the crowded bar. I was just coming up to 9:30 p.m. when I got a call from my sister, so I went out front. After being on the phone for a few minutes, my sister and I ended the call, and as I hung up, a woman, 30 to 40 years old, and her son, clearly not old enough to be in a bar, came around the corner and headed up to the door to the bar where a man was standing and checking IDs. That man was Jack the manager. Now, the legal drinking age in Australia is 18. With karaoke bars and clubs, no one under 18 is allowed in, even if they are with a parent. It's different if it's a restaurant with a bar, like Sizzler. I leaned against the wall and watched the two for a moment before deciding to head in, as it was a cold night, but rather warm inside the bar. The woman and her son got to the door, and the interactions are as followed. Karen walks up to the door. Jack says,
May I please see your ID?
Karen says nothing and shows Jack her ID. Jack smiles and hands her back her ID.
Thank you, ma'am.
Karen smiles curtly and walks inside. Tal goes to follow his mother. Jack stops him and asks for his ID.
Oh, I don't have one, I'm 14. Well, then I'm afraid I can't let you in. I'm with my mother, so it's fine.
Now, I could already tell from what the boy said that crap was going to hit the fan, and quickly. So I decided to head to the door to go inside and away from the drama. As I got to the door, Karen appeared again.
Tal, what's taking you so long? He, Jack, won't let me in. Jack, why won't you let my son in? It's a karaoke bar. It's a licensed premise that serves alcohol. As it is not a restaurant, I cannot allow anyone under the age of 18 or under without ID to enter. He's with me, so it's fine. No, it isn't. He's underage. He can't come into the bar.
Tal starts whining like a child.
Mommy, I want to sing.
Yes, he dragged out the word sing.
You will, honey.
By this time, I was getting really cold, so I made my way through the door, nodding at Jack as I passed him, only to be grabbed by my arm and spun around by Karen.
Why is she allowed in and not my son? She's clearly not 18 or older.
I'm 21 with short hair that makes me look older, but sometimes the way I dress makes me look younger, and in this case I was wearing a dress that flows a lot when you spin. Ma'am, I'm 21, and can you please let go of my arm?
Ma'am, she is here every week, and she always has her ID on her in case liquor and gaming show up, and card everyone. Bull crap, she doesn't even have a bag with her.
Me starting to panic a bit.
It's inside. Mom, it's cold out here. I want to go inside and sing. Look at what you've done. My poor baby is freezing because you won't let him in. I am married to the owner of this bar. Let my son in.
Jack and I look at each other, which seemed to pee off Karen even more.
Quit staring at each other and let my son in.
Jack smiles softly.
How about I message your husband to come outside? My husband is at home. He doesn't come here until tomorrow.
That's funny, because both owners are here tonight. My anxiety had subsided for a moment. I know for a fact that you are not married to either of them, since one is single and I met the other one's wife 2 weeks ago.
I am married to the owner.
Karen is screeching like a baby who lost its pacifier. Jack messages one of the owners to come outside. While Karen was screeching and her son whining, one of the co-owners came outside. Mike says, "Jack, OP, what's going on?" "This lady wants me to allow her son into the bar, despite him only being 14. She then proceeded to stop OP from entering the bar, despite being told she's been here for an hour and is 21.
That's a lie. I am married to the owner. I will get you fired."
"Ma'am, I am the owner of this bar, and I'm not married to you, neither is the other co-owner."
"Bullcrap. I'm calling the police about you. This is discrimination."
I had had enough with Karen and her son, so I ignored my rising anxiety and got right in Karen's face. Speaking with a menacing tone, of course. "Listen here, you entitled bench. You do not own this bar. I have been coming here every week for the past year, and not once have I seen you. I also told you how I met his," points at Mike, "his wife, 2 weeks ago. I know both owners, and you are not married to either of them. If you want to call the cops, then go ahead. All 3 of us will say how you've been harassing us and trying to get an underage kid into a bar. It is illegal for anyone to enter a licensed premises if it is not a restaurant. Plus, there is also security cameras with audio, so it would be in your best intention to turn around and leave. This crap might work in other places where the owners aren't always around and their spouses don't show up, but it won't work here." Jack and Mike were surprised, as they knew I had anxiety and hated confrontation. But I was cold and wanted to go inside, and this bench was preventing me from doing so. Karen was about to say something when her son tugged on her arm and she looked at him. Her 14-year-old son had pissed his pants from the tone of voice I was using. Karen looked back at me and grabbed her son's arm and ran off, dragging him behind her. After that, I went inside and ordered a very strong drink, as my anxiety had shot through the roof and I was near a panic attack. No one got arrested and tasered and injured. Sorry, fellow Redditors. And our next story is posted by user nooneoutpizzasthehut. Titled, "Entitled Mum Tries to Steal My Credit Card Because I'm Too Young." Oh my god, this is stupid. I went to see Aladdin today at the movie theaters, so I purchased the ticket online and drove to the theater. We got to our seats, my brother and I gave him some money to go get a snack or some popcorn. I told him I would stay here while he does so. He comes back with water and popcorn. About halfway into the movies, I took a break to go to the bathroom. After my break, I took a walk up to the area where you buy your popcorn, forget what it's called, shaking my damn head, and I was in line to get a popcorn and a drink, and took out my debit card so I was ready to pay. Enter entitled mother. She gets in line and is right behind me as I'm going to pay, and sees me with my card. She taps me on the shoulder and says, "Excuse me, but I think you are too young to be able to use one of those. I'm 16. I simply say, "Ma'am, I'm well old enough to own one of these. My mum helped me get it." Entitled mother walks away, don't know what for, and comes back asking where my mum is. She isn't here at the moment. She's at my house. Entitled mother says, "Ugh," under her breath, and I ask if there's something wrong. She says, "You can just give the card to me. I'm sure there is nothing on it." I of course decline her request, and say it has enough money to buy what I need. It had like $10 on it. Entitled mother says, "Well then, it has enough for what I need." She reaches her hand out and said, "Hand it over," in a mean, "you know what's gonna happen if you don't" kind of voice. "Ma'am, it's not yours to take. I own this card and I'm going to use it." We step out of line and she starts saying how my mum is a bad mum for getting me that, and how she is stupid and probably didn't go to school. I'm guessing she said that to make me feel sad to the point I give it to her, but that was not going to happen. I ignored her remarks and I said, "Ma'am, I won't let you have..." She proceeded to try and steal my card, and I've asked her to stop what she is doing, and a man stepped in and told her, "Hands off." He looked like the guy that would be in a biker gang or something. She said, Isn't this kind gentleman too young to own a debit card? The man said, "Doesn't look too young at all. You have a problem with people that are younger than you?" She said, "Oh, no, not at all." She backed away slowly, and that was the end of it. Short, but not sweet. I ended the movie, and my little brother still has no idea what happened. He asked me when I got back, "What took so long?" I told him problems with the popcorn machine. I didn't get the popcorn. Should have screamed, "Help! This woman's trying to rob me!" Then watch her run like a cockroach. If she's caught, it's a strong-arm robbery charge and a multi-year prison sentence. Win-win, OP. Our next story is posted by user Applecake6262, titled, "Entitled Mum Calls 911 on My Dad
For kidnapping my son."
So, I have an entitled mum, and she is horrible. I have countless stories about her, and I'm going to start posting them. So back when I was 11, during January, my mum didn't enroll me into school for a whole week. I asked her why, and her response was, "I'm your mother, and I can do what I want." When I was 2, my parents broke up, but never got divorced. Therefore, they both have custody. A few years prior, my dad moved to Texas to meet up with an online dating thing, and they were together for 5-ish years. But that's not important to the story. My dad's a nice, caring person, hence to why they aren't together anymore. On Friday, the 5th day of not going to school, he called me to check up on me. He asked about school, and I told him that I hadn't been at school in a week. He seemed annoyed, but I didn't think about it. Later in the call, I asked him if I could just move in with him. He said when I'm ready. I also told him about how there was no food, the shower was broken, and that our mum hasn't washed our clothes in months. A few days later, Entitled Mother told me that my dad was coming up because a relative was near death, and he wanted to visit them. She said that we were going to hang out before he goes, and by we, she meant just me and my brother. You'll see why in a minute. When he got here, my mum said to my dad, "Don't get my sons in trouble." My dad laughed, because he is also the parent. When we got into the car, my dad told me and my 10-year-old brother that there was no relative, and that we were moving with him in Texas. My 10-year-old brother started crying and freaking out, screaming, "Ray!" even though the windows were up. I'm trying to convince him to come because it is so much better than being here. I stayed with him during the summer. We had to drive home because my dad didn't want to force him to go if he didn't want to. He let him out of the car, and my dad drove off because my brother was going to tell my mum. On our way leaving the state, I asked why he didn't bring my 9-year-old brother, and my dad said because he's autistic, and he basically is property of the state of Ohio. I can believe this because the state barely even lets the entitled mother have him. Once we got to the bridge, my dad got tired of my mum spam calling him, so he answered on the speaker. D is dad, mum is entitled mum, me is me, and officer is O. Yes?
"You just stole my son!"
No, I didn't.
"Yes, you did. I have custody."
No, you don't.
"You're kidnapping my son. How do I not have custody?"
Because we're married. Law says if you're married, there is no custody.
"He doesn't want to be with you."
Chris, do you want to go? Yes, I want to go. You suck as a parent and all you do is sit in your ass. And then he hangs up. He then called an officer and explained the situation. Yeah, she actually just called. She said that some white man kidnapped her kids and one escaped. Nope, you can check my records, I'm the father. Officer confirms this and reassures my dad that he's 100% in the right. Goes without saying, I enjoyed my time away from her. Edits. 1. Thanks for my silver and gold medals. 2. To the people asking about how being autistic means he's property of the state, it's a weird situation. They make him go to an alternative school, and the school makes money from him going. The social worker he had quit, and he got a new one, and she told us about the school making money from him, and got him to be able to leave the state last week. So he can leave now, but at the same time the school was threatening to call Child Protective Services if he left. 3. Someone said that the story is fake because he was questioning how my siblings' ages don't change. To that person, this story was 3 years ago. I didn't live with my half-siblings then, and in my recent stories, I do live with them. and my full siblings during the time of this story are similar ages to my half-siblings now. 4. People who asked if I still live with my dad. No, he got arrested, but that can be for another r/entitled parent story. If you would like to see a few things from some recent issues I've had with the entitled mother, he recommends you click on these 2-part posts down below, but I'm going to be reading them in the next episode after this one. 5. People asked how my dad got arrested and if I still live with my dad. If you don't have time to read part 2 thing, then read this one. It's a brief explanation to what had happened. And in the next video I'm also going to read that one as the 3rd story. Well, that just about wraps up today's episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me what you thought of it in the comments. I'm going to start regularly posting these again. Had a bit of a weird hiatus there with different kind of content. Yeah, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.